Hi, today we'll look at COVID outcomes in Charlotte-Mecklenburg by age group. For information about the sources used in this video, check the description box. Let's start. Mecklenburg County is the county with the highest population in North Carolina, with 1.11 million inhabitants. So how is this population distributed by age? Well, the majority of Mecklenburg's population, about 58% of it, is between the ages of 10 and 50. If we distribute the population in groups of 10 years each, we can see that the biggest group is people in their 30s, which makes up for 16% of all Mecklenburg, with over 173,000 people. Now, the smallest group is for ages 80 plus, that only comprises 3% of the total population. Let's see. I'm not in the smallest group, but not in the biggest one either. In which age group are you? Now, what about the percentage of COVID cases for each of these groups? Out of all people under the ages of 10, only 2% of them had COVID. This is the group with the smallest percentage of COVID cases. On the other side, 8% of all people in their 20s had COVID. This is the highest percentage of all age groups. We also notice that though ages 80 plus is the group with the smallest percentage of population in Mecklenburg, it did not have the smallest percentage of COVID cases, as 5% of people ages 80 plus had COVID. Now let's remember that each age group has different population numbers, so a higher percentage doesn't necessarily mean higher numbers. How so? Well, for example, in Mecklenburg, the population for people in their 70s is over 54,000 inhabitants, and for people for ages 80 plus is 28,000. So the population of people in their 70s is bigger than for ages 80 plus. Then we understand that the 3% of total cases for the 70s group is higher in numbers than the 5% of total cases in the 80 plus group. Now, when we focus only on the numbers, we can see that people in their 20s is the group with the highest number of COVID cases, and ages 80 plus is the group with the lowest number of cases. But how does this compare to COVID deaths? Well, when we compare COVID cases to COVID deaths, we clearly see that no deaths occurred for people under 20. We also notice that although ages 80 plus had the smallest number of cases out of all age groups, it's not the group with the smallest number of deaths. In fact, ages 80 plus had the highest number of deaths of all age groups, with 256 deaths. This accounts for 47% of all deaths across all ages. And what about pre-existing or underlying medical conditions? The data here is divided in 3 categories. The first one, COVID deaths with pre-existing medical conditions. In this category, and percentage-wise, the data shows that all deaths of the group in the 30s did have pre-existing medical conditions. That was 3 deaths. Number-wise, the group 80 plus had the highest numbers, with 154 deaths presenting underlying medical conditions, which represented 60% of all deaths in this age group. The second category, where it was unknown whether COVID deaths presented underlying medical conditions, if we compare this category with the previous category, we can see that for the most part, the percentages are lower in each age group, except the group in their 20s, where all 2 deaths fell under the unknown category. Finally, looking at COVID deaths with no pre-existing medical conditions and putting them next to the other 2, we see that deaths with no pre-existing medical conditions had the smallest number for each age group. There are other ways that the data of this novel virus can be looked at and analyzed, and many more questions that could arise from observing the data. What other way would you like to see COVID data being analyzed? Maybe look at the outcomes from a different city. Or perhaps you're curious about a different subject. Let us know in the comments. Thank you for your time. Stay well. I'll see you next time.